Hi guys, back again and a new project. When you get to this age, you may be lucky to have grandchildren. I have 6 and I have some little boys who will be most excited about the next project because one of them is going to be the recipient. And here it is. And it's already been put to work in the workshop. So there it is, that's the project, and we'll now go in and show you how we get to the finished article. Now in terms of finishing, we haven't worked out yet whether we're going to paint it. I may just put a clear finish on it because after all, it's a cat, it's a caterpillar, and it's made out of pine, and pine comes up a nice yellow colour when you put a finish on it.
Well, first things first. The first thing we found was a plan that matched the truck that's already been made, and then the individual pieces were photocopied, ready to stick onto the appropriate sized timber. So obviously first things we do is to cut out each piece of the pattern before gluing it onto the relative sized piece of timber. I use a low tack spray here and only spray just the paper side and stick it down onto the timber piece. Each piece is then cut out. Here is the outside tread, and we're cutting that on the bandsaw, and I'll just finish that in a moment on the sander. Now it's back to the bandsaw, and we're going to notch out for the treads. The next piece is the inner guard, and if you have a close look you'll see that each of the patterns are numbered so that we know basically which pattern we're cutting out, whether it's the left hand side of the vehicle or the right hand side. And it's a guard, so that interior piece we're cutting out allows for little wheels to move underneath once it's all finished. So now we can see the external piece cut out and the treads cut into it. Now on the guard it does have a tread pattern around the outside. The best way to do this is by using some double-sided tape. We put those together and then bring it back to the bandsaw and just line up the tread pattern again just by cutting each one. We're actually cutting only the lower part but using the top as a guide, and that will mean the treads all line up, as you can see. Now it's off to the scroll saw where the rest of the patterns are cut out. There's 4 inner pieces which make up the body. This area has been cut out where the seats are in the centre. So here are all the pieces together, and those 2 little pieces that we've got now are for the roof, and they will fill that little gap and so create the roof canopy. Next we need to remove the paper. If it is stuck down a little bit too hard, I find that using a heat gun just to heat it up, it'll just peel straight off. Those pieces were sanded to give us a bond, and now we're just doing some glue up. Glue up the 2 centre pieces first, and once they're dry they will be just brought into a line with each other before gluing the outer pieces on. Took a little bit of a time at this point, at least leaving the pieces there, depending on what glue you're using, for a couple of hours. Once the 4 pieces are together, then the sander comes in very handy, just to get everything parallel and in line with each other. You'll see there the grill on the front of the little bulldozer. That was done to the 2 pieces in between, gluing on the 2 outer sections. And then of course, the thing that most woodworkers do the most is lots and lots of sanding. I have a Dremel router table, and it has a very small roundover bit installed, and so one of the processes we do, as you can see, is to round over all the external outside edges, and also in the window as well. Now here we're drilling holes, dowel holes, 8mm dowel holes through the inner guard right through to the outside tread pattern. We'll do this as a means of securing the 2 guards together. Now the process, firstly, as you're going to see, is to attach the inner guard to the model, and then by using glue and dowels we'll hold the external on. But before we do that, I thought it would be a good idea just to paint the engine block just in a matte black. It's actually a black stain. Once the block is painted, the next operation is to secure the inner guard on the model, and it's the only time we use metal in attaching it with screws, and that's because there's not a great deal of gluing surface on the model at this stage, and we want to reinforce that and make sure that we don't get any breaks. Next we will be fitting the external tread, but first we need some detail on that, and these are characterised by just using the Forstner bits to put in a bit of character, little wheels and larger wheels to characterise the outside of the bulldozer. The bulldozer runs on little wheels, which I'll show you how we made. We put a dowel into a board which is secured to our sander, drilled an 8mm dowel hole, then that slips in and is rotated on the sander, and then that's the result. Perfect every time. Each of the little dowels are then sanded just to make sure that the wheels run freely. And then once they're secured, then the whole tread pattern is then connected to the internal tread, and we do that, as I said, as I showed before, by fitting and hammering in the dowels nice and flush. And that's the result after it's taken out of the clamps, and a bit of sanding, and it rolls well. But no bulldozer is complete without its grading blade on the front, and the arms are held in again by dowels. And here we are cutting the blade to size, and of course the blade must be scooped. So now everything goes together with a little bit of glue on the scoop. We keep the arms together just with a clamp, just to hold them into position, and spread a little bit of glue on the trailing arms, and that's all that holds it there. And it's once that glue goes off, you won't move that. Just put some on the clamps, one at the top and we'll fit one to the bottom as well, just to make sure everything is connecting perfectly. Well, 24 hours later, coming out of the clamps and a lot of sanding, we have our finished product. Just a coat of finish on that, and then shipped to someone who is excited to receive it. That's it, folks. Hope you enjoyed this video.